What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And man, it is a great time to be a wrestling fan because TNA Wrestling returns to Orlando, Florida with back-to-back nights of action-packed pro wrestling live. Yes, live from Full Sail University Thursday and Friday of this week. And well, joining us on the show today, we got Steph DeLander, we got Mance Warner. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
We are doing pretty good. Glad to have you on the show. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this, Mance. Everybody's talking about your debut in TNA, especially with the 23 mystery leading up. Of course, a lot of people thought it was this thing, but when it announced, it was a much even bigger pop. Can you walk us through how this surprise unveiling came together and what drew you to TNA at this point in your career?
Oh, man. Like I've said it before, I've been on the independent scene. I've had every world title there is to have. I've been watching TNA since it first started in 2002, 2003. So I've been a fan for the entire run. So the next logical step is I want to level up. I want to see what else I could do. The only way to get better is fight more people. So I go to TNA. Everything worked out in that situation where, boom, I'm debuting. Steph's coming back in, and now we're in the ring together. Every place I've been, I've started at one spot and worked my way to the tippy top. Now you got me and Steph together. There ain't a single soul in TNA that's going to stop us from doing whatever we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it's cool to see your real life relationship go on to, on TV so people can kind of see a little bit more of a glimpse into that. And, one thing that has been really cool to watch is Steph, is your return to TNA. You introduced Mance as your boyfriend. You took ownership of the Digital Media Championship, mentioning you got it in the divorce. Let's talk about the storyline. How did it develop? And, what does this signify for your character's evolution? And, of course, obviously bringing your real life relationship into wrestling on TNA.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we won, you can see it in the background, we won the TNA Digital Media Championship. I won it in my divorce, which I think is one of the most unique ways that you can win a wrestling championship. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. But yeah, coming back off my injury, I'm obviously still a ways out from getting cleared to wrestle, but the fact that I have enough value in myself as a character to be brought back into TNA this soon, the having the championship now, getting to introduce my real life boyfriend Mance into the mix, I think it's just a testament to, people tune into what we're doing. People want to see what SDL is up to. People want to see what Mance Warner is going to do on the show. And I think when you have a loyal fan base that wants to follow you and see what you're up to, I think then companies like TNA can take a gamble on it and go, yeah, we've seen Mance, but we haven't worked with him yet, but we trust that this is going to go well. And I mean, it's one of the biggest angles on the show already. So I'm just excited to see, what crazy stuff we can come up with together.
And like Steph would say it too, the fan base of people that have over the years watched us on the independent scene or watched old Mance, now they're going to tune in to see, well, that's our guy. We want to see him. We know he's an SOB and he's a dirty dog and this and that, but that's our dirty dog. We want to see what he's going to do. And if it's with weapons or not with weapons, I get in the ring and I fight. We could go in there and just chop, headbutt, punch each other. That's fine. Or I could get a screwdriver and a door and a table and just beat the heck out of you. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm ready to see Mance in like a Monsters Ball match. Let's just go ahead and book it. I mean, we still got some time. We'll figure this out, but we'll book it later down the road. And, I want to talk about your recovery, Steph, after your neck surgery last year. Your comeback has been very impressive. How has the recovery journey influenced your in-ring performance and approach to wrestling? I know you said you're still not cleared just yet, but, I mean, you're out there and looks like it's well ahead of time, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely very ahead of my recovery timeline, which is really cool. I'm very happy about that. I mean, as far as how it's influenced how I'm going to wrestle when I come back, What I will say is, I mean, I initially injured myself like 3 years ago when I was at WWE. So which no one knew the whole time that I've been working with this bulging disc in my neck, right? Like I would quietly tell my opponents when they wanted to give me pile drivers, like, hey, I'm not taking a pile driver. I have a neck injury. But for the most part, I just kept it under wraps and I worked through it. But so I've had this in my head for years of like, I need to wrestle as safely as I can because I want to do this for decades. I don't want to do this for a few years and then my body gives up, you know? So as I said, I've already taken steps where like the last few years, I've taken one pile driver in my entire career and I'm never going to take another one ever again. You know, I stopped taking German suplexes. Like the only person I would let German me was Jordan Grace. Like no one else is allowed to give me like a high neck bump. Like there's certain movements that, in my opinion, the risk just isn't worth the reward. And I did run into that a lot more in the indies than you do on TV, because TV, you have producers and people saying no to things, whereas on the indies, everyone can do whatever they want and they do that. So I had to be the bad guy a lot of the time and just say, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. But then moving forward, you know, there's a couple of movements that I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. And I'm speaking to my surgeon. Like I had a conversation with my surgeon. I literally the other day was like, so these are the moves that I do. And are there any of these that you think it's not really worth it right now? And he was like, if you want to wrestle for like another, 10 to 20 years, maybe you don't need to do a spear every single match, or maybe you don't need to be like catching a full body weight on your shoulders. You know, maybe there's another way you can get around it. But the cool thing about wrestling is you can modify what you do, right? If you play football, you have to do every movement. Whereas if you wrestle, I can choose what moves I want to do, what moves I want to take out, what I can come up with instead. So yeah, it'll take a little bit of time of workshopping my moveset of what I want the new rendition of my in-ring to be. But this isn't a new thing for me. As I said, I've had a neck injury for the last few years. So I've definitely already been thinking safely for a while.
Yeah. And that's awesome. And of course, glad to see that the recovery is doing very well. And I mean, soon we'll be seeing you in there, taking the bumps that you want to take, not the ones that everybody else is calling for you. Of course, TNA Wrestling returns Full Sail University live this week, Thursday and Friday. And Mance, you've been very vocal about being made for TV, and you hinted discussions with various promotions. Obviously, it landed you with TNA. When do you see your role evolving in TNA and possibly beyond?
For me, like I said, man, I grew up watching TNA. Every company I go to, I start at one spot, and you can guarantee I'm going to climb that ladder. So at TNA, it's like, I'm going to start here. Me and my old lady are coming in. We're going to do whatever we want. And the end result is going to be, I want to be the guy when you talk about TNA, you go, Steph and old Mance. So it's a matter of time. No one's going to stop me. I will fight everyone that I got to fight. And at some point, everyone's going to go, TNA, oh, that's Steph and old Mance. That's their playground. They do what they want out there.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be fun to watch and see what happens for sure with TNA and you guys being together. And I know a lot of people have been talking about this. And, one thing that happened here recently, I mean, your match against Gabe Kidd recently at the JCW Jersey J-Cup, I mean, showcase your resilience. I mean, I'm allowed to cuss because this is my show. That was like a fucking bar brawl. Like, how do you prepare for something like that? Because obviously you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to take a couple suplexes here and there. That was like a full-blown fight.
There's very few people. First of all, I fucking hate Gabe Kidd, and he hates me. But there's very few people in this business that they're going to fight. Me and him could get in there and fight just with our fist. Just so happened there was one door and a couple chairs in that one. And then at the end, you had a screwdriver and a damn tool. But that's just a taste of what I do. Like I said, I could get in the ring with no weapons and headbutt you and stomp your face in and bust your teeth out. And for me, I'm excited to show that at TNA. And like you said, that what me and Gabe Kidd, that's I don't say match. That's fight of the year so far. So anyone else fucking follow that. And I will continue to do that at TNA. Coming up,
absolutely.
I'll have two live events. They're gonna be sold out. You're gonna have, let's see what happens. The train is rolling. Jump on now and see what's gonna happen.
Absolutely. And I mean, here we are just 2 months into the new year, and you can already call that. Well, I'm just going to say it's a fight. Like you said, the fight between you and Gabe Kidd could be a match of the year candidate. Fight of the year is what we'll say. Of course, TNA is at Full Sail University live this Thursday and Friday. You can still grab tickets. You can watch it live on TV. And, you know, both of you had made significant impacts individually, but of course, your alliance in TNA has a lot of the internet buzzing, the IWC. What can we expect more from this partnership moving forward? Obviously, you've got the digital championship behind you. Is there some way, some form that once you're cleared to wrestle, you go after the Knockouts championship, and then Mance has the the World Heavyweight Championship, and you just become this big power couple and take all the titles?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where I think there's a lot of people in TNA that have been there for a while, and they are happy to be there, which is great. And I'm happy to be there too. But my motive isn't to come and hang out with my friends every couple of weeks. My motive is to come to work with my husband and win championships and become, the version of myself that I know I can be and I know I will be. I just haven't had somewhere believe in me the way that TNA does. And I think it's the same situation for Mance. So I think we're both, we've both been doing this for quite a while. As you said, we've both had very successful careers individually, but now we're in this, it's almost this ultimate power duo of I'm very strong by myself. He's very strong by himself. We both kind of have a chip on our shoulder of feeling like we've watched a lot of people come along and get awesome opportunities while we've sat in the background going, what the fuck? So we're kind of both at a point in our careers where we're not going to wait for stuff. We're going to take what's ours. If that means that that's rubbing people the wrong way, or someone doesn't want to be friends with me in the locker room, I don't really care, because I'm not there for that. So I think us being together as a duo in TNA, there are titles that are there for the taking. I mean, the Knockouts Championship is there. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships are there. There's people moving parts, people getting released from WWE, people coming from all different places that there's a few future tag partners that I could see myself winning the tag titles with. I could see myself winning the Knockouts World Championship. This is a world champion sitting right here. So I think, we're going to make a lot more of a splash in TNA than I think people first realized.
And for me, everyone knows I don't got no friends. The only person that can stop me from doing crazy shit is my wife. That's it.
Right.
So I'm not here to make friends. This is something I grew up watching, that I knew I would be at this place. And sometimes things take a little longer, but when you get there, I'm used to that. I'm used to being told, maybe not now, I don't know about this, but goddamn, when I get there, ain't a single soul gonna stop me, unless it's my old lady telling me, hey, maybe don't, jab that screwdriver all the way in that man's head back there.
Just a little bit, not all the way in there, just a little bit. Just give him a little taste of it. I'm telling you, man, it is great to see you guys on TV, see you on TNA, because I remember watching you, both of you guys wrestling, especially on the independents here in Nashville with Sup and everybody else. It's great to see the recognition that you guys are getting now, giving you your flowers now to you in person. The thing that a lot of people are excited to see recently with TNA making the announcement with the WWE partnership, is there anybody with that partnership that you envision that possibly a dream match that you would like to have? You want to call anybody out?
For me, I will fight any single person there is. If that means with fist, with a chair, with a screwdriver, or you just want to give me a microphone and someone else a microphone and we could promo all damn day, you can insert the name of anyone. I would. You got anyone there, baby?
Look, there's people that I used to work with, a few years ago, and there's people that I love, and there's people that I don't like, and they know that. And I think that's going to be interesting too, coming back in, is if we go into NXT at some point, there's people that I have history with. And, I'm not going to name names because A, I don't want to give them the heads up. And B, I think, there's not enough surprises in wrestling. So I think let's leave a couple things unsaid. But I think I'm not interested in doing anything at this point in my career just because oh, that would be a cool match. I don't care for that. I care for is this an interesting story? Does this make sense? Are there legs to it? Do people want to tune in to see this? Like that's all the stuff that I'm interested in. And as I said, I have plenty of history with WWE and plenty of people there. So I think it'll just be a matter of who, what, where, when, and why.
Just have to watch and find out on TNA every week.
Yeah.
Last question, and this is always where we have fun at the end of the show. We like to turn to ChatGPT, the robots, to ask a question. Sometimes it's always the stupid question of how you got your start in wrestling. Well, we can all go to your Wikipedia page or whatever and find out that. But we had to slap it around a little bit, and they finally came up with a good question. If you two had to start a reality show together, what would it be called? And what's the one ridiculous challenge contestants would have to complete to win?
I don't know what it would be called, but the challenge is easy. We would send the people to Family Dollar or Dollar Tree, and you would have to cook the greatest meal that you could cook. And I'm talking with the government cheese. I'm talking with the gross pickles.
Hey, I have nothing to do with this.
Wait,
that is your.
These are all the things that I love. She called me because I like to take a walk. So I'll end up at a Dollar Tree somewhere. And I came back with pickled sausage, and I came back with pork rinds that I've never seen before. She hates this stuff, but I love it. I'm a redneck. You say I can live for a week with $5 at a Dollar Tree.
But what's the premise? They're making.
The premise is God knows what. They just got to hang out with us for a week.
But they're making this crazy meal of like Dollar Tree shit.
If it's good,
and then if it impresses me,
yes,
then they win.
It's a cooking show. That's what it is.
With a headset, and I'll be running around like.
You know what? Our podcast is called That's Cooked. So I think it would be That's Cooked, the reality show.
Perfect. And then they have to just go to the Dollar Tree, and they've got $5, and they have to make dinner with what they have with the $5.
And I have a headphone deal on, like on the cooking shows, and I'm drinking whiskey the whole time, and I'm screaming and yelling. Go.
I don't know who we got to pitch this to somebody in Hollywood right now. We got to make this show happen. Coincides with your podcast. I think that would be a great show. I'll definitely watch it. I'll even try to participate in it if we make this happen. So it's an honor and a privilege to have you both here on the show. And before we let you go, is there anything you want to say to everybody that's watching or listening to this right now?
I just want to say, stay tuned with what's going to happen with TNA. I mean, watch every single week. Follow us on social media. I'm at Steph DeLanda. He's at Mance Warner. I know it's corny, but this year really is going to be huge for everyone in wrestling, but TNA especially. So yeah, make sure you can say you were a fan before it blew up.